Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sognsdal Saga series here on the Lord Master channel. Norway has been expanding a lot. We have expanded our borders into Denmark and then into most of England, which a little bit of this part here is yet to be taken, in which we still have plenty of that monthly income, but we're going to have a brief lull onto that, as knowing that some of our fighting individuals are a bit, underperforming. As I will pet my cat here to lose some stress as I find Snow sleeping in my chambers, and as I sit down beside her, I'm greeted by a quiet, confused chirp. However, as I start running my fingers through her white fur, she quickly starts purring in contentment. The sound seems to relax my well-being. Thank you, my friend. But anyways, see to if the whale hunt be successful, because we'd like to get some money out of this, knowing that some of that is to be spent, because wars are expensive these days due to our continuous expansion, especially with the size of our levies, which takes up more of the maintenance cost. And that is becoming a bit of an issue. Yes. Oh, and actually that costs a little bit of money as time goes on. So we're just going to have a brief break over it, as I've been thinking about the succession, as even though I am infirm, but I'm still feeling fine health-wise, in which I'd like to, well, again, the outline of the North Sea heartlands. What do we need? What we need is Lincoln. This part here is Bedfordshire, and this other part of the outline. So that's Sussex, or is that down there, Sussex? Surrey. Yeah, that's Surrey. Okay, because I was trying to remember. There's a confusion between those two English counties. Because we just need 3 parts. That's what's left. So that means subsequent 3 more wars to fight. And we're saving Lincoln for last because it's held by a larger country of Aquitaine down there. Knowing that they have a lot of armies down there. And we can only hope that France doesn't invade us, but and once we're done with all of this, then we have accomplished our goal. And then we shall form the North Sea Empire, but this will not happen under Togir. It has to occur by one of his successors, which we have yet to be determined who. But all the voters are behind us, because I'm the most well-liked person in all of Norway. But Sweden. Same except for this one person, but who gives a damn? And Denmark. Are you voting for my son? Yes, they're all behind me as well. So I could pick whoever to hold those 3. But now England, this would be a difficult one. Since England now complies to Scandinavian elective rules, not Saxon elective rules. And I have been given some of them land. Just have their support. Some of them are still Christians, but a good portion of them are of the Norse faithful. So naturally, I would make Torfi the next successor. But however, I mean, we're trying to think of the younger ones. You know, someone who's intelligent. This one's a warlike person. Whom else? Yeah, this is that one that's gonna go to India. I would go for him, but because of diplomacy, he's a bit of a contrarian because he's forgiving and callous. That's contradictory. That will not do good for the stress. You aren't as skillful, although to be fair, I have neglected these children. You seem a little better. Although a military man, but diplomacy is just as good. Again, I want somebody young. So that way when that person holds all the titles and must rule for 30 years. And then whichever of my sons, the son of Togia, will be the one that will get to call himself, what did he call himself? The Sea King, and the High King of the Seas, with all its great benefits it'll have. So you could say this is, whoever's the successor is going to be the man that'll be the man of the millennium. Not since the days of whomever that someone would look like and call it a millennium man, but what is considered a millennium from a Norse perspective? That's just, it's a modern term, obviously. Anyways, I mean, that's one other option. Well, what about the ones who are not yet who... Oh, definitely not him. 12 children, my goodness. How about you? Again, I would prefer somebody with diplomacy education for stability reasons. Hey, what say you if I were to seduce you one more time, huh? Just for old time's sake, just to lay with you one more time and have one more child. So I think that I should change the succession. It should be Herstein. As he's chaste, generous, and patient. They'll respect him. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's hale, he's intelligent, and a forder especially. As he, you know, just turned 16 last year and he's going to be 17 soon. So even though he is intelligent but not a genius. I mean, I have intelligence too. So I think it's been decided it should be Herstein to succeed. Herstein, there you are. And I hope that the electors will change their minds. And if they don't, then there's going to be hell to pay. There's going to be definite hell to pay. I want everybody to vote for Herstein. And if you don't, then we're going to do some convincing. We have to go on a charm offensive to every single one of my vassals from various places. Yes. Okay, one more. England. the difficult part. I got 30 different vessels. And if any of you do not comply, unless you're from outside of those boundaries, then we have ways of convincing them. As I'm back on foreign affairs. Fellow vassal opinion. I think we should go for that. Normally I was going to go down this way because of the whole title creation, but we're not creating any more titles. We're done with that. If anybody wants to create duchies, they may do so. I ain't going to do it. Shorter truces would be nice, and no prestige penalty for breaking them. Oh, you tempt me. So let's get this going. Oh, and let's hold court. A lost treasure. My lord, I represent the religious community of Ethelsburg. While rummaging through our modest archive, we've come across a very peculiar book. The cover was dusty, the binding fragile, and the pages were yellowed by time, but contained the most unusual drawings, and its script itself was unknown to us all. We are certain it is unique to the world. A long-lost vault of knowledge, a true treasure. That's why I offered it to you. Perhaps an original copy of the Will of God, or it's a memoir from the world's creation. You a Christian, right? A monk. Okay. Thanks, I'll add it to my collection. I gained a mysterious book, so now I own an ancient book written in a mysterious language. The Day of Truth. My lord, my almoner, Jarl Stefan takes the floor. I have an idea to improve taxation. You could send surveyors to question your subjects about every property, its name, owner, extension, and value. How many people and animals live there? Please, my lord, allow me to oversee the matter. Your courtier, Krenberg speaks up. I wouldn't worry too much since our income is very good these days, and we're having a lull on the Conquests at the moment as we're looking to recruit some more fighting men and perhaps shield maidens to fight in our army because, you know, some of our old hands have been beat up a lot during those last few conquests. Ferment dancing. A peasant man from the city of Ferment's brought before me, and no matter what the guards do, he will not stop dancing, chilling blood from mangled feet. I cannot cease, my lord. None of us can. Not until we collapse. Please help us. Rexco, you is certain that the citizens are afflicted by an excess of blood causing an imbalance in humus. Oh, that belongs to the Alms Vikings. Libeck. Well, that's none of my business, but I'll say dancing sounds delightful. Next. I wanted to lose some stress these days. Okay, so what do we got? 173. Brothers did very good work. Yes, that is the new player heir. Okay. Denmark, Sweden, Norway, England. What about England? Will they vote for him for England? No. They still want the elder. Oh, we got a very powerful voter. You will. Same to you. I have a feeling that we may have to demand their conversions, even though we do not do that typically. But we'll see if they change their minds. The Scandinavian countries will go for my son, but give it another month or so, and then we'll see about, like, will they go for England? Can vassalize who? Munster. We can vassalize all of this? I mean, these are the Norse faithfuls, but I am not interested. I mean, if Rome will lose land when vassal dies. Oh, he must live. Unless we can get rid of her, then that will not do. Oh yeah, that's from over there. You can have a mayor trainee. Ah, I see. It's nice for them to keep paying ransom to me. How dare you? England and Norway. You fools. You mad fools. Why not? You. What gives? Gonna get you to change your mind again. And you're gonna like it. And if you want to remain that way, no, stop with the seducing. And I've stated before, we should go on a charm offensive. Just start befriending your vassals. We don't need to take it out on them. And maybe perhaps during my last few years of life, I may have to start fabricating a... Aha, here's an idea. Regarding, England. I know some of you won't vote, but demanding conversions will do. That may do some convincing. Because originally I was going to tolerate the Christians in my land, but this will not do. This will not do. What's your excuse? By uncivilized barbarian, you mean because he's a... supporting Torfi, uncivilized barbarian. Well, because he is. He's flawed. He's under a lot of stress. And we got a youthful man who is full of vigor. That's what we want. That is what we want. We want is a man of integrity. Okay. Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and will it be England as well? They still say no until they change their minds. Oh dear. Torfey still gets England, and nope. Palestine is heir of England now. There we go. And I'm gonna have to befriend each and every one of these vassals. Oh no, I already brought them in here. Because we're still looking for more guests that'll come here. Christian pilgrims to the Holy Land suffer all manner of abuse, and their routes are fraught with danger. In order to protect the pilgrims and secure Jerusalem and for Christ and the faithful, His Holiness Papes Marinus has accepted the possibility of an outright invasion by joint Christian forces. This could be the beginning of unprecedented Christian aggression. They protect us. A Polish Pope. That's why I recognize that word, the Papes. He knows a lot of languages. Lethich, basically Polish. Vernacolo. Where's that from? Romance, Czech-Sloven, Serbsko-Hrvatsky, Arabic, and Netherlands. Very smart man. I fear that... Yeah, sure. I fear that with this crusade, that he's gonna start targeting me and not the Abbasids. Huh, that reminds me. Hey, how would you like to be his shield maidens, any of you? You won't accept. Still won't accept. Because it's been a long time since back in the days of the shield maidens. Oh, she'll be willing. Be willing to spend prestige for that. She's got the prowess skill. We just want good fighting men and women to join the army of Norway. The army of conquest of the North Sea. I arrived back at my strong after a long, lonely walk. Another year passed, another year older. I was born on this day 66 years ago. The older I get, the more I cherish the relationships I cultivate over the years. So it saddens me I have not heard from my wife Vitis or any of my friends today. I trudge along with my chambers, loneliness hitting my lazy feet, when I hear a clang and hush whispers from down the hallway. What could that be at this hour? As soon as that cupbearer just died today, happy birthday! What a surprise! All my nearest and dearest friends have come together to wish me as well as I begin in this next year of life. There's even an entire table laden with saffron cakes, my favorite. Here I was thinking that everyone had forgotten about me. I cannot believe that Vitis went through all the trouble of arranging this in secret. I had not a clue of such a thoughtful surprise as being planned at all. My friend Greta approaches me struggling to carry 3 beautifully wrapped packages. Ever the trickster. Says, I have 3 beautiful gifts here for the choosing. One shall be yours. What shall it be? For once, good things come in small packages. It's a brooch. Fertility. Okay. You know that thing, right? Potsherd? Yeah, that was given to me long ago. And perhaps somebody want to keep that. Same faith opinion. For stability reasons. That does well. Why do I even have this? Unequip that. You're not learning any languages anytime soon. Yeah, why not equip the... I already have that. Hey, put that on. Yeah. So good. Okay. organize a hunting trip to North Centaur. Still fine. I still gotta swing that sword a few more times. Day of Truth. Survey completed. It is done, my lord, states my courtier Kunveg, as she bows in front of me. Several months ago, you commissioned a survey of all your lands. Now it is completed, and the details on ownership, the land value, are all collected in this book. As long as its description is faithful to reality, your taxation will be more efficient throughout the realm. Excellent job, Kunveg. For the rest of my life, vassal tax contribution plus 10. Alright, that gained quite an amount. We're just merely building our war chest. Ooh, magnificent book. This book will be about diplomacy, knowing that my successor is going to be one of diplomacy for stability reasons. So the book shall be all about it. Construction noise. Pratha has approached me with a complaint. Some locals are constructing some new buildings near her house. However, the noise they make is loud and annoying. The construction is technically not on her property, so she can't do anything about it. Well, perhaps I can. Yeah, maybe I could convince her to put up with it. 100% that she's convinced, and I will gain a little bit of that diplomacy lifestyle experience. 2 copper eyes follow me as I cross the hallway, and a small meow breaks the sign says Snow pounces from her ankle. She may be young, but she is nonetheless ferocious. Surprised why I see that she left me a gleaming gift horse behind. Thank you, fair lady. Check again. Herstein, 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 Herstein. Whoa, what do you know? Would you look at that? I do have an alliance with him as I was about to say, we have an alliance with him due to marriage between this and that. Oh, yeah. I remember you. Too far away from contact, though. But he's going to be around for a long time. Purchase, truce. Finland. You pay me money. Okay. No, I'm saving him money. We're building a war chest here. I'm only spending little. Come here. An experienced fighter, you say? Yeah. So that means we're gonna have one war against them. That's what we're gonna do here. One war against them for Bedensford and another to there. Save Lincoln for last unless we have to do it in between. Depends on the state of my well-being, of course. Take a drink. Who is the lowest? 13. 10 months till full control over in the area where Jorvik is. As much as I'd like to improve these lands, but we're of the tribal government. and wrong culture. But we simply want to move forward. Because you see, it's not going anywhere because we're stuck with tribal government. And that is all the reasons why we got to form the North Sea. So we'll become feudal, and we can advance to early medieval because we are falling behind technologically. That's why this is a major goal, and we aim to change that. And that's why under Scandinavian elective, we are voting for somebody young. And it will be Herstein. But you know what? Since he's deeply important now, I do not want him anywhere near. He might get killed in action. So that one, my son, is to be protected. So you gotta think. And plus, I don't want him to go out and fight for two reasons. One, get himself killed, and two, become a berserker, and that reduces the diplomacy skill. Anyways, set rally point, put it here. Ready. S6. Beresvashar. That's only going to be there. We can't take two and all of this at once because I already used up the invade kingdom castle and we can't subjugate anybody. So it's going to have to take two wars. And before we hit that finally, let's remind us. It would be nice to get flexible truces for shorter truces and no prestige penalty if I decide to break them. Let's go for it. I find my beneficiary Dagas surrounded by scrolls and manuscripts, head held in her hands. My lord, there are so many areas of diplomacy that are worthy of attention. Courtly conduct, relationships, poetry. I don't even know where to start. What topic does you use your for? Buckinghamshire is under siege. Split. Oh, you're the one with the siege weapons. Tell you what, is the Turk still here? Yes. Even though he's Pecheneg, but I still call him a Turk because Turkic heritage. If I ever get killed in action, then it shouldn't be viewed as a huge loss, because we do have the succession secure. My alchemist, Dagas, brings him out for me. All smiles and praise. This is Biggie, a respected scholar in my circles. The man bows and manages to look pleased and bashful all at once. Please, no need for that. I'm here to lend you my services, my lord, if it pleases you. Mentor. Well, I'm kind of too old for mentorship at this point. So it does. Please assist Dagas. It will be of higher quality. It better damn well be. It's diplomacy, and that's gravely important to Norway. And the future North Sea Empire. Made a friend. Remember to continue to befriend your vassals if people have an idea on who they're voting for. Although England would be the most important at this point, as we know that the English are full of contrarians. How's your health? Fine. Alright. Let us meet. Grant pardon. Oh, you were a fornicator and I had you imprisoned at one time. Right. All will be forgiven. Stood strong in the face of the enemy, even though the battle's already over. My soldiers fought valiantly so far at the Battle of the 100 of Oxford, I believe, but are slowly growing tired as their foes push harder and harder in rage against their demise. After a prolonged period of combat and a strong enemy counter-push, my men are stumbling around, exhausted and dire need of motivation. Seeing this opportunity to deliver some inspiration, I step up to give my warriors a stirring speech to revigorate them and restore the drive to continue battling against the difficult foe. Once I step up, I begin to ponder what I might say, as a few of my soldiers stop fighting to watch me in admiration. As a man of diplomacy, I gain no stress, because, you know, I got all these other different things that reduces the stress gain. Take heed to these words, my brave soldiers. Some of you are farmers, born in the granaries that fed our nation. Some of you are villagers in the towns that we lived in, and grew into the people we are now. Some of you, like me, were raised by our fathers and grandfathers to show no mercy to the scum that might threaten our brothers and sisters and families we have at home. The same people who eat from our farms, live in our villages, and raise our children. Today, we fight for those people, for those souls who know nothing of the horrors we face on this battlefield today. Maybe today's the day I see the heavens. Maybe yours comes soon after. Let us meet in that realm as warriors, unfazed by the strength of our enemies. We fight to the end, unshaken by the storms that shakes mountains to the ground. We stand unscathed by the fires of demons who may scorch our souls. We stand now, together, and we fight. Are you with me? I boom to my soldiers, who begin to shout in anticipation of the combat that comes. As I raise my blade, the rumble of footsteps suddenly stopped the enemy's advance in his tracks, even sent some into a retreat, terrified by the blind fury I've instilled in my warriors. Unfazed, unshaken, unscathed, charge! Even though battle's already over. I got away with words. Go for this instead. 19 months. Take the objective first before we assist, and then we'll go after their capital. Hey, you're late to the party. Come on. My friend Gunther stops me in the hall of the being stone. Ah, there you are, Togia. I've spoken to Dagas. I've heard she's writing diplomacy for you. I couldn't resist to visit her study. I talked to her about it. Meet your expectations. I think you'll like the results. It better damn well be. It has to be the best diplomacy book that the gods would ever seen. And if they had a chance, perhaps they'll read it. Almost there. Killed an involved ruler. Genius. Be glad you're married to a genius, but you will not succeed and gain any titles. Sorry to inform you that, Torfi. It's because of what you've been doing to yourself lately. That is not a conduct. of a man who would become the High King of the Seas. I stab out of my tent and rub my eyes. The siege camp sprawls out before me. A jumble of tents and carts in tangled alleyways. A few banners flutter in the wind. Smoke drifts on the wind. Throngs of men busy themselves among the tent and siege weaponry. The stench of dirt and sweat is thick in the drear air, stinging my eyes. The smell is mixed up with the strong tang of urine and a rancid odor of rotting wounds. My low retainer approaches and informs me that the siege is ended. I gather my bodyguards and head to the edge of the camp. 300 of Bedanfed stands before me, its old circle of hell. In the fields between, the crops have withered and the wild grass has been reduced to the mahogany-covered stubble. Smoke rises from flaming houses. Survivors huddle in the ruins of houses. The ones that are not flaming, you know. We'll keep sparing them because this is going to be part of the territory that we will control. Head for the capital. Well, I will continue with my own siege, which takes an eternity to have to do it. By Odin, man, leave me alone. The peaceful atmosphere is shattered by Dagas yelling as she storms Courtier. Herbert quickly follows, but stops to cease. My liege, please talk some sense at the Dagas. I'm trying to help her since I have the experience that may improve her work. Leave her alone. The quality of the book is high enough. There's so many improvements, and I don't want it to screw it up now. Level 5. Cousin's been released. Oh, speaking of cousins. Oh, the Sognsdal dynasty does have a foothold over there. That explains the 2 counts. You're currently occupied, but nobody's after your territory of Moskva. Wrongfully executed man. Extracted tribute from Volga beekeepers, so she's recently demanded an extra tribute of honey, beeswax, and other bees products from local villages under their jurisdiction that were known for the apicultural industry. You greedy person. But after all, you do have the dread, so I could see why you would do such things. As much as I would like to deal with raiders, but I can't be doing that. Now, where are these alleged raiders? Oh, down there. No, money is to be saved. Well, Anka just ended up in prison again. Unlucky person. Perhaps it's just a possession or whatever she's done. Ostiovic. Step out of my tent, the siege camp sprawls out before me. Russes a pair of burlap and leather and roast chicken. A bonfire smoking foul breath and horse maneuver and blood and death. Flags flutter above the throng. People bustle about, loading mules and checking supplies. A thin column of smoke climbs above the camp, and the smell of cooking fires fills the air. My low retainer approaches and informs me that the siege is ended. I gather my bodyguards and head to the edge of the camp. 300 of Oxenford stands before me. A murky bog, a field of corpses desecrating land. In the fields between, Empty mud brick buildings lie in pieces. Charred beams tumbled about them. Bodies lay everywhere. Glassy eyes wide with shock. Grieving widows weep into the smoke-stained bandages wrapped around their blistered, lacerated arms. Their screams echo across the blight-scorched battlefield. Limited looting here. It's not going to be part of our territory. We're doing that simply for the sake of it. War's about to be over, so no need to engage. As I walk outside, I'm greeted by the sight of my vassal, Antiquity, crouching beside my cat, Snow, tenderly petting her head. This is a quite lovely cat you have, my lord. Well, thanks. You're very perceptive. Alright, what you got? A monumental chronicle detailing the history of the well-known Sognsdal dynasty. Ornately illuminated and illustrated. The cover is letter displaying a repeating image of floral motifs, not say about a placement of the insets. Masterwork book. A book is a book. This will have to do. I'm impressed. An ornate book with very fine lettering. We already have this one active. But now we gotta put this on. Which one is it again? Sognsdal Chronicles. That's it, that's the one. Sognsdal Saga, Chronicles, Ballad. It's pretty confusing. Now, it takes less than a year to get that done. Thanks to all of this. This is something that my son needs. We took his sword. I step out of my tent and rub my siege camps falls overboard. A grey knot of men in smoking torches. Flags and banners fly in the damp wind. Bright colors mix it with the hopelessly in the grey rain. Everything is covered in a thick sheen of grey damp like a mud-laden lake. My low retainer approaches and informs the siege is ended. Got my bodyguards head to the edge of the camp. Unit of Gluckcaster stands for me. A canyon of shattered walls. In the fields between, empty carts and furniture frames smolder, surrounded by bones of horses and shattered swords. Bodies litter the grass, rotting, covered in a foul stench of decomposition. Survivors huddle in a makeshift of huts made from felled trees and fallen bricks. Loot it! War's over. It's ours, but I'm gonna have to give that to somebody else. One sec. Okay. Pretty developed, but it's gonna belong to somebody else, and that means yes, another loyal voter. To make sure that they vote for my son to be the next ruler of England. She won't be around for long, but actually, that whole body thing, she's going to be quite healthy. Yeah, why the hell not? Just to make preparations. Cousin left again. Time's running out. My health is poor. Now, what do you want? Oh, cousin. You may be of Not of our culture, but well, you'll be around. It's like you may be of the incorrect culture because you have once belonged to, my uncle who used to rule Vladimir, but obviously they lost Vladimir. Shuskotoroka. Is that how you say her name? She doesn't know the Norse language. She only knows Volga-Finnic and Finnic. Basically the local language and a related language. Wants to forge regalia. Okay. Let's see if it's going to be better than my current one. So my health is poor now, which means at any given time, that means I'm going to be gone. And Herr Stein, which he will not be leading in any army, just out of his own safety. That he will be the one to, oh gods, he will have to be the one to hold everything. And watch out for Viggen, the most powerful vassal in all of Norway. Yeah. Let's really look again one more time. North Sea Heartlands. Again, we need Sarai and Lincoln. That's it. And since we do have a treaty with them, and since we just defeated them in a war, breaking them right now would be the most terrible thing. I like how the game thinks ahead about what to get next. Because you'll lose a level of fame. You'll be a truce breaker, which is no good to anybody. But perhaps that we can wait 10 months. But I don't want to wait now. My health is getting poorer than ever. Because I believe it's high time to declare war against Aquitaine. Or whatever that French name of it, because that's not ruled by the native of the Occitanian. It's not ruled by them. But we want this land. We want Lincoln. That's what the French name for Lincoln is. So if they want us, come up here and get us. And then eventually we're going to sail down and take it to their capital. Same spot to assemble. And they brought a holy order with them. Go after them. Wherever they land, we'll engage. Be on standby. I couldn't help but notice, since we're so close to it, and I used to have a lot of prisoners. We gotta send some of these people to Greenland. If they accept, that is. Oh, I refuse, sir. Ludicrous demand. Why would I be exiled to the distant, remote eastern settlement of Greenland? Surely we could work out another arrangement so I could regain my freedom. That stubborn fool refused my generous offer. Well, I should have given him gold beforehand. But that's marginalization. Damn it. Not what I wanted. okay, it's once per use. Okay, any of you useless courtiers that has nothing better to do in their lives wish to go to Greenland? How about you? You want to go? Oh, he'll definitely accept. There you go. Progress towards subsistence phase. Yeah, you can only do that one at a time. One prisoner, one courtier. So there we go, some progress. Aristocratic pretensions. Ada, Simon, Figus. 3 of my courtiers are overtly discussing my great number of titles within the Liberty shop, loudly lamenting how taxing it must be to to manage with so many estates himself. They are thick as thieves, the haughty Ada, the privileged Punujel, and the ruinous Simon. Just happen to be involved, the lethargic Figus, as the guards call him, the blindly absent, the shred of humility. Over the din of courtiers gossiping, I clearly make out the words Filke and Hoderland. And what I'm certain was at a simpering tone. The shameless child turned to look my way, and I catched him with a glare. What are you looking at? Have I known about this, I would have sent one of them to Greenland. Well, let's hope that the war's hunt be a good one. Remember, keep your eye on where the enemy army might be going. If they go overland to Denmark, we're screwed. I know what you need. Run with me. I'm an old man, you know. What? Now who would want to kill me? Kill little old me? Oh, I think I know. It's probably that man, Ethelbert Godwinson. Where the are you going? Lincoln's that way! Lincoln's that way, you fool! There they are. Found them. If I'm gonna die, I would like to go out blazing. Herstein is still the heir to England. That's the most important title of them all, because it's feudal territory, no tribal. Higher quality, okay, good. Coming to get you, coming to get you. God damn it, let me catch up. Okay, 183 gold. It's time to make some money off of this ivory. I'm gonna have to chase them all the way out of that, do we? Caught one of them. And reinforcements will soon come. Steiner. Not good. Oh, Atlantic character, excellent. That means you better pay me a lot in ransom. Nowhere to run. Sometimes I keep forgetting. Knight's Hospitality. That's the... Viscontis of Lincoln. I step out of my tent and rub my eyes. The siege camp sprawls out before me. A confetti of tents and banners and smoke rising with numerous cook fires. Flags hang limply in the rain-fogged air, whipped now and then by wind. Shouts and cries ring through the damp air. My low retainer approaches and informs me that the siege is ended. I gather my bodyguards and head to the edge of the camp. The Viscontis of Lincoln stands for me, a charcoal bastion, and the fields in between trees and flags are flattened, houses and barns are reduced to burning homes. The crumbling smoke pointed accusingly into the grey, rainy sky. Bodies trapped in the jagged iron spears of the gates. Shocked of Irish stumble among the tightly packed houses, seeking what's left of their lives. Well, now you got a new task. Set sail and head to their capital. Take it to them. At Bordeaux. Not going anywhere. Just seize it. If they call me a tyrant, then let me die as a tyrant. You may have the advantage, but I have his. I'm paying a visit to an acquaintance of mine who nearly died in an accident when she was a young woman. Even though I actually had the time to do that in the middle of the battle. Yeah. So, yeah. She was in fact unconscious for a week before she slowly recovered. She said that during that week she had a glimpse of the afterlife. She said it looked like a simple yet beautiful garden filled with light. The experience moved her greatly. Perhaps that's what the afterlife will be. We'll see for sure one day. Unless it's Thorun, who would say things like that would say similar sentiment to what Grandmother Astrid said, that she would go to the Great Hall in Valhalla and feast with the gods and all that. And the reason I said why Astrid would say this, because she was zealous, for those that remember her. Shorter truces and no prestige penalty for breaking them. Quiet! It's Amber Alert. Yeah, they're on their way to Bordeaux. Gonna keep chasing them down. That's the captain of the Archpriest. The Archpriest? The Courtiers of the Archpriest. That sounds like a, for once, a very cool mercenary company name. Anyways. Keep winning these battles. We have the objective. The relevant objective. Correct. Now deal with the rest. And now we're besieging here, which will take us 4 months. See if we can capture the road. Oh hell. Get me another. That's another thing that my successor must do. Then that is to Um, that is to distribute to which one of these peoples that will get the that will get to the have these core precisions. Yeah, I just have hesitated a little because, you know, didn't capture her, man. What the? Well, that's an odd mix. Doesn't say about, it's like, why is that man a Muslim? But I guess I would have to assume that he lived down there where they are, and then yeah, and all that. Keep going in after him. Meanwhile, not long now. Can't catch them, they're gonna escape by then. What are we making? Regalia. For my wife, why not? For once. Since I'm gonna die anyway, eventually. Haha! Ever since we defeated his army, he went back home and we captured him. I exit my tent. Siege camp sprawls out before me. The chaos of improvised creations, shimmering gold in the low morning light. Flags snap and flail in the rain-drenched wind. Braziers, smoke, and guttering flames light the scenes with a flickering orange glow. The soldiers sit around, holding tankards of mead, relaxed with small talk and camaraderie. Smoke from the fires drifts and fills the air. The smell of food cooking on spits by the bonfire grows stronger. My low retainer approaches and informs me the siege is ended. Get my bodyguards, head to the edge of camp. Viz Cortes of Bordeaux, or Bordeaux, depending on how you pronounce the area. A charcoal bastion in the fields between. Rotting remains of dead men lie in heaps, tangled and contorted. Beyond the toppling walls I hear a woman wailing over the dead. Frightened survivors stumble, bloodied, courtyards panicked at the sight of my troops. How developed is it? Extra tolls in Santiago pilgrims. Commoners mocked. Treasured dynasty legacy. For once, let my army run wild. Because we don't have enough much of the way of gold as we used to. Give me that. No, give it to somebody dear. Now, Lincoln, however, is an interesting county. That's part of the rights mod. Linklinne. Is that the Norwegian name for it? Because this has the Fossdyke. The Fossdyke is one of the oldest canals still in operation on the British Isles. It may date as far back as Roman times. It connects the River Trent at Tuxie to the settlement of Lincoln. The holder of this holding, +1 stewardship. Holding taxes up. Shrine with holy relics. This area here is something that I may want to keep for myself. So I think I'll make that change. So give away Ostjorvik. I don't need that anymore. Someone else can have it. That ought to be you. And I will hold this for myself. All because when the buildings are active again, and when I go feudal, +1 stewardship. And if you were to do that now, you know what happens? Yes, you broke the truce, but the general opinion is really bad. But they say that truces are shortened. What's this symbol? 4 years. God blast it, I don't got 4 years. I gotta do something before I pass. Unless it's gonna be Hairstone, that'll do that for the honor. And Hairstone will get to have all the titles. He'll hold everything. And he will try his damnedest to keep the realm stable. And look at that. How do you keep the realm stable like that? You got to have very high diplomacy. General opinion plus 40. You see that down there? And how do I know schemes so damn well? It's because of my high diplomacy skill. I know everything what's going on here. And I could make it even higher. If I have someone who's really good at court politics. So, should I fight one last war in this episode to get Surrey, and then it's all ours. You know what? Why the hell not? Because I'd noticed that it's about to be the turn of the century. It'll be a new era. Dawn of a new era is coming. But that, of course, that era is going to be the era of uncertainty. Oh, go relax at the giant shade tree, will you? And while you're at it, start the war. I'm willing to break that truce. For that. And if these people got a problem with me, well then, do not worry. They'll still respect me nonetheless. For what I'm about to do here. The truce will be broken. And, of course. And this will be the last time, hopefully, that we'll ever fight against the English. And we'll try to tolerate each other in the future. So it's, you know, I mean, I'm not looking to form a hybrid culture. It's not my intention. Put it here. There is the great shade tree in the village of so great that even I, Toga, decided it's worth my time to visit. The villagers were surprised but flattered that I even considered their village worth visiting, and they welcomed me with a little feast and various petty amusements like dances and their peasant songs. Afterwards, I came to the great shade tree. It was, to put it simply, very big. Truly, one could fit the members of an entire clan under it. There's regalia. I've seen better. Come on, hurry up. We're looking to make a quick war. Don't forget to split your armies. And I know a lot of people are angry with me for breaking that truce. You're not qualified to rule all the lands. Head to there. Let the Turk be in charge. How old are you, man? It feels like you've been around for a long time. I mean, it feels like it, but... No, it's just time moves slower these days. Hey, down. Split. Thank you. Off you go. I knew there was something off. Time for me to go after them. This is gonna be my last battle. There's no approach to yet another dead rat. I can do nothing but praise it. The count's never been free of ruins before. Killed with a good work. Huge health boost. Okay. I guess I won't be able to, die anytime soon. Just keep working on realm stability. Once all's said and done. Gonna get you. Gonna get you. Gonna get you. Just to get ahead of time, head to their capital. And once you're done with that, come over here. Now that you have the objective, get to here, help us out, and we'll end the war by early next year. I exit my tent, seeds camps rolls up before me. A haphazard city of canvas and timber and animal hides and mud and narrow paths winding through the huts and lean-tos. Pennants and pennons of every color with stiffly back and forth in the persistent wind. The smell of tar and needs-foot oil hangs the air. My lower retainer approaches it informs that the siege is ended, and I gather my bodyguards head to the edge of camp. 100 of Seotuxid. I don't know if that's correct pronunciation. Stands for me. A doomed, silent hellhole of smoldering thatch-roofed cottages, wreathed in scorched dreams and regret. In the fields between, the dead and dying lie in 2 long rows, soot-stained and rigid. Bodies of the dead and dying filled the town, a sprawling mass of candle-blackening flesh lying in the dark pools. Frightened survivors gathered and await my entry. They throw scrambled words of appropriation our way, telling us to determine momentarily who survives and who dies. My men spread out, officially rounding up the rest. Come on, hurry! Fine. I have money to spend anyway. Of course it was you. It's too bad you're not here right now. You're gonna be a menace. Of my tent, seeps, camps falls up before me, a bristling mass of humanity sheltering beneath hundreds of siege tents pitched on a grassy rise. The stink of wood smoke rises in layers on the cooking fires. Flags flutter above the throne. Figures hunch over to the campfires, tossing on wood, well-brushed sheepskins clean. My loaded retainer approaches and informs that the siege is ended. I gather my bodyguards and head to the edge of the camp. 100 of Casta, we've been here before, stands before me. A shambles and burned shell. The fields between, many of my comrades lie dead, their blood mingled with that of their foes. Gone are the cottages and strange rock formations dotted with blue wildflowers. Bodies lie scattered through the fields, and many of the women and children fled weeks ago. The streets have been demolished. Grieving villagers cower in the streets. Too stricken to weep, they huddle in the ditches, awaiting torture or waiting to be hanged. Limited looting. And imprisonable If anybody gives a damn, please pay the ransom to me. And with that, that is it. It is done. Now all you need is to hold those titles for 30 years. And I am not that man to do it. No. I'd rather have the successor to have it. I want somebody young, who can be excellent with diplomacy, and then later in life take on the medicine focus to continue his prolonged rule. He will be the man of the century. I can predict that. And let us raise a runestone. Put it on Lindsay, because it helps the control growth. There you go, Conquest runestone, just to get the control up much faster. It's active. Yeah. Oh, and this is yours. Yeah, now we've accomplished our goal. Egad's a leopard. Try again. Just a hook. As I said, anybody who gives a damn, please pay the ransom. All you have to do now is to tell all these vassals that I'm sorry. Uh-oh. You know, that tyranny thing. How long is that going to go away? Tyrant. Broke truce. Oh, I got so many modifiers I can't read them. Because I know I broke the truce. But they say it's only going to be around for about years or so. So I think you'll be fine. Alright. Who's the wise guy that decided to vote against me? Because we're gonna send all the money to assure of their loyalty. And if anybody doesn't view it as such, then I'm willing to befriend you. I'm gonna be more gregarious than I was in the past. It's just that Denmark's the exception now. Now, what do you say, now that I have given you gifts to assure you of our loyalty? If you don't vote for him, then I'm going to have to befriend you. I'm going to go on a charm offensive. Okay, who do I got to befriend here? You. Perhaps I should get out of this diplomacy thing and switch to something else, because what I'm about to get now will help in the long run. Fellow vassal opinion plus 15 for defensive negotiations, so they'll likely respect me a little more. And maybe I should go for a little bit of intrigue, just to fabricate hook scheme. And the alternative is, well, send your spy master to look for secrets, but that's going to take a while. Hey, it's going to be a long while for you, son, before you finally get your turn. You don't have much of the way of health bonuses, but do not worry, you'll live long. You'll be the man of the century, I promise you. What's my dread? 20. Natural dread, natural dread. Aha! Here's another way to get the vassals on your side. Focus on intimidation and get this first before you do anything else with these sort of things. That's the way to keep the realm stable. High diplomacy skill, and then let's add a little bit more to the natural dread. Because I don't have it like I used to, because I'm infirm. Well, I aim to change that. So the natural dread is plus 15. Because, you know, infirm is minus 15, and then intimidation, and this leads you to this as a result. Any little bit of dread will do fine. Let's reach the max. This ought to help the resilience. How about? When is the next? Oh, 5 years. Actually, there is another way to get your vassals on our side. Oh my goodness. Everything is expensive these days. Something tells me that we gotta go back to raiding, go back to our former ways. And obviously I see kingdoms like these as being targets. Oh, it actually does go above the limit, okay. Integration phase is in transition. It's going to be transitioning to subsistence. And it's going to take about 3 months. But we're still making very good income. Can't deny that. All the more reasons why we gotta form the North Sea Empire. Stop developing. How long have we been developing this? Hordaland is what needs developed. Because that one's falling behind. I have arrived in China to pay homage to you. I was going to show my loyalty. Again, feudal rulers can do this, and she is my friend. I wait patiently on the throne for the arrival of your self-led, who will soon announce an usher before me. She kneels in deference, offering nothing but her oath and faithfully serve as a vassal of the ring. At last I bid the Orland arise, confirm my satisfaction, and her rights to the lands she rules in my stead. Serve me well. What does that do again for level 7? Vassal opinion up. Okay, good. Check Denmark. Oh my goodness, as much as I like to get all this, but actually, I don't think you should worry too much. Your income is so well enough. Just do it. It's only going to take a couple of months and then we're out of this. And plus, whatever income that we're going to get from Greenland is going to come to here. You'll be fine. Now, who's going to be sacrificed? Who's the unlucky bastard that needs to be put out of his misery? Might as well be you. You got no reason to live. No, I cannot. For the first time since the Reign of Thorin, we finally ran out of money. After years of wars and overspending, it finally caught up to us. But didn't worry too much. So there you have it. Now we are in the subsistence phase. And as a reminder, you people, following a period of growth of the settlement phase or the integration phase, the Greenland settlements have become fragile due to long distances involved in supporting them and a difficulty of maintaining a presence in a harsh, cold land. The relations with the local natives are also increasingly tense. Political and economic changes elsewhere disrupt the flow of trade and supplies, and Greenland becomes ever more reliant on Northern Europe. The settlers must receive a boost of aid from Europe and redouble efforts to export valuable luxury goods, particularly walrus ivory, in order to reach the integration phase, or Greenland will decline in a marginalization phase. We could go back to integration, back to the way it was when it was all good. But now, what does this phase effect have on war? For those involved, our garrison size is reduced. For cultural effects, the cultural fascination progress and acceptance gain has been lowered. And promote culture proceeds slower within the struggle region. Interfaith marriages are still available. And the other effects, oh dear. Resilience decreases by a random amount between 0 to 5 every year. After major global economic changes in the 1200s, 1300s, the maximum decrease has changed to 10. Same for the networks. And for those involved in the other effects, when taking the decision to organize hunting trips in order to chances of a failed hunt as well as the hunt's negative impact resilience is less compared to the marginalization phase, but more than during the settlement and integration phase. Plus 50 to the costs of decision to organize the said hunting trips there. And when taking the decision to organize a hunting trip, the minimum and maximum gold you can earn is less than in the settlement and integration phases, but more than in the marginalization phase. Increased prestige and gold cost to send or exile people to Greenland. And the holding taxes just comes a bit lower, and so is the development growth. So, you could say what we are in now isn't good, but it's still better than marginalization, which you gotta avoid those. So that means all these catalysts to get back to integration, you gotta do all of these again. So in this new century that we're on, it's like it may be a new era, but over in Greenland, they're more reliant towards us instead of being self-sustaining. And we gotta make sure to keep the realm stable. That's my main priority now. And Herstein is the heir. Alright. I would go to, but I do not have the money right now. Only because I don't want to spend on things during my travels to the feast. The guests of the body so numerous that they blanket the air around the temple. Seneca Confidence Roar is good and is hold up to the altar. The very first in a long line of men and beasts stretching far out of the doors. She thrashed ferociously as the hoof of her brought her life away. A light in her eyes lasts till the first animal is slaughtered. Human corpses to the hanging tree, animals to the cooking fires. All gore is collected in a bowl. Alfgadar used it to paint the walls of the temple inside and out. Truly a spectacle worthy of the gods. Every Indian noble of at least count rank. They have to be loyal to us. Oh, God, dog it. You didn't lose or earn anything. Part of that subsistence phase. Subsistence. Since when did Thorn become so much of a, you know? Yeah. Just a few more months, and then we'll end the episode. Because in the next episode, as we stated before, as he just turned 70 recently, our main focus now is to keep the realm stable, and then everybody will vote for Herr Stein to inherit all the lands, and one day he will be called the Sea King, and he will be the High King of the Seas. As I said, it won't be me because I'm too old and I'm infirm. I'd rather have someone of youth and in good health. This ought to be a big challenge for him, because if I were to drop now, he has to be in his 50s when he holds all these titles for 30 years. So that means it's going to be around the 1030s is when we will finally get out of the tribal governance, and we'll transition from tribal to feudalism, and we will finally enter into the early medieval era. So the main focus now for the next few episodes is to hold what you got and keep the vassals in line, and then we will return to raiding, something that we have not done in decades. Raiding. Yes. And among other things and all that. I don't know how long my cat is gonna live, but I know that in near future my cat Snow is gonna pass, and there goes my health benefits and all that. But I believe that we should end this episode right here, as we'll stop on September. So we hope you people have enjoyed this episode of wrapping up a recognized sanctuary service. He's here to bring us. My lord, you must come quickly. Here, Sir Brianna Westfold was just seen leaving the chambers of your courtier Sultan. This can only mean one thing. Lover exposed, and he is in prison. Now, we hope you people have enjoyed this episode of, wrapping up the last few conquests of this part of England here. And our main priority now is to hold Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and most of England. I will not swallow up the rest because we've spent too much. And in our free time, we will return to our former ways of raiding into rich kingdoms, even perhaps from afar. And I'm surprised that Pope has not called for a crusade, unless... No, there's no indication that he has a peace treaty with the Abbasids. No, not that screen. Where is it? It doesn't say anything about he declared against the crusade, but he did go to Al-Quds, or Jerusalem, on a pilgrimage. He did go to there. Not once, but twice. No. Anyways, so I guess we will change our stance in this part of the series now, where we're going to be less on the offense and more towards the defense. As in, I will likely disband the Onagers and get another men-at-arms, where we'll be more focused on defense, because we need more men-at-arms than we can get. And as well as go raiding and all that and more. So we'll see you in the next episode, but until then, so long for now.